Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. For those of you that may be new to the channel, my name is Tim, and this is Freightmaster Resources, where we provide tips, tools, resources, and industry news to help you grow and be successful as a freight broker, freight agent, or carrier. Okay? So before I get into today's video, I just want to give a shout out to you guys. Really and truly, you guys are so awesome. I'm digging the comments on the recent videos. I hope that's a little bit of a reflection upon myself as a result of the content that I've been providing for you lately. And everybody in the Facebook group, yeah, you guys rock. Okay. I'm loving the posts. Like I said, everything. So big shout out to you on a Monday. All right. Came across the situation, and that's the reason for today's video. Is I have a friend of mine who's an owner operator, and he's not alone in this. Okay. Showed up to the receiver to drop the load, and they weren't able to offload him. I'm not going to get into all the details, but essentially couldn't reach the broker. Broker provided their cell phone number. They have their email. No response over the weekend. Now, to be successful in this industry as a freight broker, building your carrier relationships is vital. Let me say that again. It's vital. Okay. And I'm going to explain the reasons why for you. Okay. Number one, when you are prospecting, right? When you're out there looking for new customers, it is advantageous for you to be able to tell them that, yes, I have trucks in your area, right? So let's say, you're already running a lane to, I don't know, St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. It's much easier to tell them, yeah, I've got 7 trucks every week in St. Louis, right? If you're looking for a lane back to, I don't know, Tallahassee, let's just say, you're loading out of Tallahassee to St. Louis, and now you're looking for something back. Okay. It's advantageous because now you're not just a load board jockey, right? You are guaranteeing that customer capacity, right? As long as obviously all the factors work out, they've got enough credit, the loading hours, requirements, all of these different things, right? But again, it makes your job prospecting a lot easier when you're able to go to them and tell them, hey, I've got the trucks. They're already there, right? It is also advantageous for you as a freight broker by having those carrier relationships, because now you're not hunting and pecking trucks off the load board, right? You're just generating rate confirmations and sending those out, okay, to your already existing carriers that are running that lane for you regularly. Okay. That allows you, that frees up more time to do prospecting, right? Or whatever it is you do with your day, right? Whether it's follow-up calls, follow-up emails, cold calls, cold emails, whatever it is, right? That gives you more time to do that, right? So it is vital for you to have your carrier relationships. You need to be thinking of your carriers as a customer and not someone who works for you. Okay. It is, I don't know where that mindset came in. The carrier works for us. BS. While they do, you are their customer, but they are also your customer. Okay. As an intermediary or a middleman, whatever you want to call us, your customer, your actual customer, and your carrier are your customers. You are an impartial part of the equation, right? Going back to my friend that had the situation over the weekend, and I know that this happens to a lot of you carriers out there, right? And if you have any feedback on this, I'd love to hear your comments, right? Let's keep it respectful with any debate on this from brokers and carriers watching this. But again, I would love your feedback, whether you agree, disagree with me, or you have an added point to all of this, okay? But by providing your after hours information as a freight broker to your carrier and then not being available, anything can happen out there, right? Anything at all. Let's say that something happened, the truck got caught in a tremendous traffic jam and he's late for delivery, right? Late for pickup, got in an accident, right? Maybe he was at a truck stop and some other driver backed into him, right? Maybe he got illegally towed, right? Like we talked about in the previous video, right? Anything can happen. So what's the point of even providing that after hours that after hours contact information if you're not going to be available? Would your customer be happy that you are unavailable to your carrier? That should scare the living hell out of you, losing that customer because you were unavailable to your carrier. They are counting on you. Your customer is counting on you. Your carrier is counting on you. We are all supposed to be professionals in this industry, right? And that is very unprofessional. It wasn't even my load, right? And I was offering to do whatever I could to try to help. I don't know how much I could have done, but, maybe help make phone calls to the receiver to say, hey, I'm calling on behalf of, my buddy, because think about it. If you were a broker, let's reverse roles here a little bit. If you ran into a situation and you couldn't get a hold of the carrier, you couldn't get a hold of the customer, do you know how frustrating that is? How absolutely frustrating that is? It's happened to me, right? I've had to pull a carrier off the load board. Oh, yeah, everything will be fine. And then you can't reach them when you need to. Maybe the customer said, oh, there's a change on this, or, the receiver said, hey, looks like we accidentally overbooked too many trucks. Can your driver be in here early or a little later, for their appointment? Anything like that, right? That's just one scenario out of a cajillion. You need to value your carrier relationships, right? Because if you don't, it can cost you your customer relationships. I don't mean to hound on this, and I know that I kind of get into this, relationships, right? But it's true. If you're a one-offer on everything, now I'm not saying, sometimes you have to, you have one-off loads or irregular loads from customers, right? And you're forced to use load boards. But when you have consistent lanes, and if you're working for a customer, by the way, and you're doing a lot of one-off loads, but after you've been with them for a while, start looking for consistency, right? Like maybe a certain load goes out every Thursday, right? Ask them if you can grab that, right? Just, hey, you don't even have to throw that out to anybody. You know what I mean? I've got a great carrier that runs this for me normally, as long as we get to it before somebody else, but let's just do this. Right? But obviously talk to your carrier first and make sure that they're able to do that. Right. But yeah. And, they might have more freight available than what you're actually even seeing. Okay. I've run into this. You've been in this industry long enough. You're going to run into this. You are going to get, when you typically, when you start working for a customer, they're going to give you the crap lanes, the difficult lanes, the ones that they're having a hard time getting covered. You're going to get those first, right? You have to prove yourself. So after you have worked with that customer for a while and you've established that relationship, ask them if they have any other dedicated lanes, right? Maybe you're not the only broker that works for them. And maybe this lane should be paying $2,500, but the broker is charging them, say, I don't know, $3,000, just hypothetically speaking. Okay. If you can make that, if you can drop that rate a little bit, and again, don't ever fixate on price, but you can keep your carrier happy with a rate, right, that they're satisfied with. Like maybe give that carrier the full 2,500 and say, hey, we can get this done for you for 28, 29, right? And maybe it's an every Tuesday and Thursday load, right? It's not a 5 days a week or anything like that, or maybe it's a weekend load, right? You not only are helping establish your carrier relationships, but you're helping solve a problem for your customer as well, right? By doing that. And it's cost savings, because that's going to add up. Sometimes, depending upon the volume that a customer is doing, sometimes even a $25 reduction in the rate can be significant, right? And I'm not advocating at all, right, reducing rates and this race to the bottom mentality. And another broker, that same broker might go, hey, why'd you take this lane away from us? Well, we got it for $25 cheaper. Well, we'll come in $50 cheaper than what we were doing it before. And then, the whole cycle. But, so don't get into like a bidding war to the bottom. Just don't do it. Right. But if you can build that loyalty between your carrier and your customer, and, there is no more bidding on that, and it can be a little bit of a difficult situation. Or maybe the other broker is strictly just booking loads off the load board, right? Even though they have that consistent lane, they're trying to find the cheapest truck constantly. Why? They are spending way too much time on the load board versus keeping a good carrier, right? A consistent carrier to do, to run those for you regularly. I don't understand that mentality. I just don't. And I know a few brokers and broker agents who are stuck in this mindset, right? Well, I'll just throw it out there and I'll get the truck for $300 cheaper because the market rate dropped. I don't care. I would rather keep paying the additional $300 rather than hunt for another carrier, because I value my carrier relationship, right? Because I already know them. I know that they're going to do a good job. They're going to pick up and deliver on time, right? They're hard workers, just like my buddy. When that man says he's going to do something, he does it. Okay? Why would you destroy a relationship with somebody like that? Why? Especially with all the fraud that has plagued the industry, why would you do that? That makes absolute no sense to me whatsoever. And let word of that get back to your customer, right? You might get a nasty email or a phone call. What the hell are you doing over there? Why aren't you answering the phone? There was a problem, right? Why weren't you there to solve it? That's what we do. We're problem solvers, or at least we're supposed to be. That's part of our job description. We're supposed to be professional, just like professional truck drivers, right? Everybody has a role to play. And when you become that broken link or that missing link, the whole thing falls apart. Everything is only as strong as you keep it, right? As soon as you take yourself out of that equation and become that broken link, the machine breaks down. Something to think about. I didn't mean to get all randy ravy today. I really didn't, but it's a little bit of a, I talk to so many carriers, owner operators, fleet owners, brokers, broker agents on a daily basis. In fact, I've got 3 phone calls that I've got to make up right now. My phone has lit up. I've got my volume turned off, but I've got 3 more callbacks to make, and I know who they are. One of them's a broker and 2 of them are drivers. I don't work with them directly, but I know them, right? I'm probably going to find out what's going on, why, the reason why they're calling me. Maybe they're having a problem with a load. They might be just checking in to shoot the shit. I don't know. They might be saying, hey, I've got this really great lane, but, and I'd like to put a dumbbell together and run back. Do you know anybody that maybe I could get hooked up with directly? Or do you have something that would take me back, right? How awesome is it for you to have a good carrier relationship, right? Because I'm going to tell you something. When times get busy and you're constantly working off the load board and a problem happens, now you're scrambling. Oh, I still got to try to get this load booked. And oh, now I've got this problem over here. And you're multitasking like a mofo, right? Build your carrier relationships. I'm begging you. You will be more successful. Your carriers will be happy. Your customers will be happy. You'll be happier. It's a lot less stress on everybody. This is a pretty intense industry, right? And like I said, anything can happen. But don't say one thing and do another. That's such a load. Don't say you're going to be available after hours and then not be, Carriers, build your broker relationships, right? Not all of us are bad. We're not all the devil, okay? We're not all demons. We don't have monthly meetings, with our hoods up and everything and chant and figure out how we can screw over brokers next week. We don't. There's no secret society. Maybe I should create one, a secret society. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it will behoove you to build your direct customers and broker relationships, right? What you expect of them, they should expect of you, and everybody should follow through. Right? It just goes back to being professional. And again, when you've got a good broker or a good customer that you work directly with, don't screw that over, right? And if you're trying to establish a new relationship with a broker, maybe you've never worked with them before, which, by the way, my buddy, quick little sidebar, this is the first load he's taken from that brokerage. He will not work with them again. That relationship was destroyed before it started. So I hope that broker's happy because they just lost a hell of a good carrier, hell of a good driver. Anywho, when you have a good broker relationship as a carrier, they can help you out, right? They can offer you new lanes because they've got access to more customers and things, okay? They're there to make those phone calls, or they should be, when something happens, sending off emails, text messages to receivers, customers, right? Notifying, everybody involved if there was an accident or something happened, if there was damaged product. They should really be doing a lot of the administrative work for you. So when you do a good job and you build that relationship with your broker, they should be taking care of you as well, right? And oftentimes they're able to pay you a little bit more, or will offer you more money versus somebody off the load board, right? At least I for my own self, I do. Because I value my carrier relationships. I absolutely would rather pay a good, consistent carrier more, right? Because I know them. I know that they're going to do a good job versus I don't know this person. It's almost like, growing up as a kid, stranger danger, you don't know. like I said, load board can be kind of like the Wild West out there. Sometimes you run into good people, good carriers. Sometimes you run into bad people, bad carriers, right? And you're not always going to be able to make everybody happy, whether you're a carrier or a broker, right? But we have to do our best to try to do that. Okay, um, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any added points to make on what I've said, you know, and if anybody wants to reach out to me directly, maybe you're having a problem, or maybe you're like, hey, Tim, I'd like to work with you. What upcoming lanes are you working on? Right? I don't typically have a lot of spot market stuff. Most of my stuff is dedicated. So, but I'm constantly building my book of business, right? Building new relationships with carriers. So, if you're interested in potentially working with me, if I have something or something upcoming, or maybe you've got a lane in a certain area, let me know, right? I mean, it's just like, what was it? Thursday? No, Wednesday. No, check that. Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I had a carrier. They're in our system and they've worked with our company for quite some time. My first time working with them, personally, but they've been a good carrier. They've got good notes and things. They booked a load with me, and then kind of last minute, the customer had an equipment malfunction, and they were not able to get the load ready for the truck on time. They let me know like late Tuesday evening that this load was not going to be able to go out first thing Wednesday morning. I reached out to my carrier and said, hey, we've got a situation. This equipment broke down, so they're not able to get it all staged and everything. If you want, I will keep you on the load, but we're not going to be able to probably load until the following morning. They said, not a problem. We'll do that. Are you able to compensate us for, layover, additional time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And my customer knows that I don't put bad carriers on their loads, right? Every load is important to me. Okay. So basically when this happened, the owner contacted me and said, hey, Tim, do whatever you got to do to keep that truck on that load, and if for whatever reason they're not able to, then I guess, find another truck. But if we have to pay extra, just pay them the extra, right? Like open checkbook kind of a thing. I don't want to say that, but, it was, obviously within reason, well, I'm going to pay the carrier an extra $1 million and pay myself an extra $2 million. And no, I would never do that. But no, I mean, they value their relationship with me like I value my relationship with them, and I value my carrier relationship, right? And that's my job, to try to keep everybody happy. So I compensated my carrier within reason, right? To make them happy, my customers happy, everybody's happy. Even with the delay, we got it done. Okay. So, not every problem is, world ending. Just like my friend's situation probably could have been very easily resolved, but now it becomes a bigger issue, right? Because now he's laid over for an additional day, right? Doesn't know if he's going to get compensated or if the broker's going to go, well, blah, 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 and this was another thing. The broker had on there that if they can't reach you within, like if they don't get a call back from the driver within 30 minutes of them reaching out to the driver, they charge $250. So that being said, can the carrier charge the broker $250 when they don't answer the phone? That is a BS rule on the rate confirmation or in their setup agreement. Come on. That's just a way of gouging carriers. Like they haven't been gouged enough the last 2 years, right? Like everybody else. Shame on you. Shame on you for that. All right. I'll stop my my bitching. Okay. All right. But anywho, I hope everybody's having a great week. As always, don't forget my recommended tools and resources in the description down below. I love y'all. I hope everybody's having a great week. And as always, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.